Everyone. A month has gone by, and here we are back again. We're going to spend some time today talking about taking your life back again. But I'm going to speak just a little bit until I'm told that most people have logged in, and sort of like before a television program, they have someone come out and work the audience. I'm going to try to do that now. And what I'm going to talk about before I actually start my presentation is an incredibly spiritual experience that occurred to me a year ago, the end of August, the beginning of September. Last August, a manila envelope came to me in the mail. It was postmarked Gainesville, Florida. When I opened the envelope, this was in the envelope. It's the Miami New Times, date end of August, beginning of September 2015. On the cover of this magazine is a woman and a man. The woman happens to be my mother. The man is the person she married after my father passed. My mother passed in 1987. This picture cover is dated August of 2015. It seems that the author of the article inside this magazine was resurrecting a young photographer who was murdered. He was upcoming, he was famous, and he was murdered. In 2015, the author of this article decided to write about him. And of the thousands of photographs that she could have chosen, she chose this one, which is the epitome of my mother. The person who sent it to me was my cousin, who had left Gainesville, gone to South Beach on business, happened to be in this store on this day, sent me the photograph, and it turns out to be the anniversary of my mother's passing. The entire world is interconnected. What we do here can and often affects all of us. I've been using this time to give you a sense of where I am coming from. And we'll be checking. It's about 5 minutes after 8. And people are signing in. And so I'm going to start my presentation. The title of this week is take back your life. When people come into this office, all of them are overweight. What they want to do is to lose weight, but they're not focused. You see, in almost every case, overweight people are either in escape mode or in comfort mode. And whatever emotional issues are pressing on them, they escape into food as a distraction or as an actual escape. The problem is that it doesn't work. One, because there is no escape. And two, because in almost every case, not all, because there are situations when what I'm going to say next does not apply, but aside from those exceptions, in almost every case, it didn't work and it wasn't worth it. If we're going to take our lives back again, then we need to do something that makes us the center of our own world. In the past, some of you have heard me use the word selfish. In order for something to be selfish, you have to have a self. And in discussions, people feel guilty about making themselves important. What I want to do today is two things, and then put the pieces together. So I'm going to start by getting all of you focused and relaxed by doing the Qigong breathing with you. I want you centered, I want you focused, and I want you relaxed. And here is how we do Qigong. With your mouth closed, I want you to take a full breath in through your nose and immediately, without waiting, and I am going to join you, out as slowly as you can through your mouth. That's mouth closed, full breath in through the nose, very slowly out through the mouth. When I have finished, I will nod my head. I will count to 5, and then we will do it again 3 more times. What's going to be interesting is how restless some of you are going to be achieving. And when you get restless, remember, we're not doing the breathing for me. We're doing the breathing to demonstrate your own control and your own importance in your own life. Here we go. Mouth closed, full breath in through the nose, slowly out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. Relax, 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 relax. It's so centering. It's so relaxing. Relax, 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 relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Let it out very slowly. Force it out. Feel your entire body relax. 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 Very slow. Very slow. Very slow. Very slow. Very slow. Very slow. Relax. 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 Last time, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Relax. It's so relaxing. It's so relaxing. It feels so good. Relax. 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 I'm going to cut it a bit short now. Now here, I'm normally thinking just relax, only I verbalized it. And by the time I've finished all 4 breaths, and as I say, I don't know how many of you relaxed it, not only am I relaxed, but my head is empty. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but what's important here, this was a concrete piece of evidence that said, I am so important in my own life that I've made myself number one because everything in my life needed to stop, because while I'm doing the breathing, I cannot do anything else. So it centers you, focuses you, relaxes you, and makes you recognize that you're caring about yourself and making yourself important. The second issue is something that I've discovered within the recent past. It seems that Qigong is a form of meditation. in pieces rather than in one long session. And that this form of meditation causes your body to increase an enzyme production, and that enzyme is telomerase. Telomerase is used by the human body to replicate parts of your DNA, meaning the tips of that DNA. And as that tip is replicated, it slows its deterioration, which does two things. It lengthens your lifespan and improves your immune system. I want you to do the breathing every single time you do the beads. First the beads, then 4 breaths with 5 seconds between each breath. Give me 10 days, and the difference that you will experience is incredible. I'm going to move on now to part 2, which is the AccuWeight Loss Magic Protocol. It has 3 steps. And those 3 steps are combined in an acronym, your ABS, ABS. Admit, breathe, substitute. The first thing I want you to have, and there are other things that you can use, is obtain the Werther's hard, sugar-free candy and have them available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A thought comes into your head, and the thought says, I'm craving, I want, I need to cheat. I want you to verbally admit, Dr. Chuck, you are thinking of cheating. Oh, yes, I am. Once I've admitted it, I've brought it into the real world. Once I've admitted it and brought it into the real world, I'm going to do the Qigong breathing, only I'm going to do it 3 rather than 4 times. In through the nose, slowly out through the mouth. Relax, relax, and feel myself relax. Once I've admitted and done the breathing, I'm going to take a candy in my hand. I'm totally aware this candy is not nearly as good as the cheat of which I'm thinking. But experience has taught me if I have the cheat, I will be happy for just a moment. And then I'll have guilt and remorse because it only satisfied me for a moment and it didn't really work. But if I use this candy as a substitute for that cheat and acknowledge that I'm going to do so, the instant I put that candy in my mouth, I will be literally unable to cheat. Because 1, I fulfilled what it is I wanted, which is comfort or escape. 2, the taste of the candy is pretty darn good, even though it's not as good as the cheat. And it gave me that comfort without damage. Because 10 cheats, 300 to 350 calories each, is 3,000, 3,500 calories, and 10 of these candies combined are less than 100. So I've met the needs of the situation. I've satisfied myself. And no matter how many times I do it, it stops me from cheating. It satisfies my urge and is not damaging. And the biggest feedback that I've had is, Dr. Schwartz, when I do it, not only does it work, but I know it's going to work, and it's given me back control. The key is the verbalization, because when I say it, it's in the world. When I think it, it is not actualized. Now, if you want to take back control of your life, you have to make yourself important enough to take the time to do the Qigong breathing, and what we're talking about time-wise is minimal. And when you crave to do the ABS, admit, breathe, substitute protocol, is also not oppressive. The two pieces put together make you the center of your world in a concrete example. And the more you do it, the more important you state in concrete form how important you are in your own life. Now remember, taking the weight off is only step one. We want to learn to take it off so that we can then apply the methodologies to keep it off. I'm ready for questions and answers. Hans, please join us together. And now that's a 140-pound loss. Assuming the person is female and scrupulous, that's, let's say, at the outside, 10 months. But I'm going to modify that, is because generally speaking, with people who have that amount of weight to lose, after the first 35 to 50 pounds, I speak with the person. I suggest they do a few protocol days to satisfy any urges that they have, and then continue on the program. And so I would say 10, 11 months, because I promise 15 pounds minimum every single 30 days, as long as they don't cheat. Hans? This is what real life is all about. AccuWeight Loss is not a caloried diet. It's chemical. The milk days liquefy and detox. The fruit vegetable days, high in enzymes, dissolve the liquefied fat. You went off, and what you've simply done is, the analogy I like is, this room is lit, so the lights are on, or analogy, the program is on. I turn the switch, which means I stray from the program, the lights go out, it's off. Whatever damage is done during that period is done. There is no further damage. From the moment you go back on the program, and I recommend always that you restart with dairy, the promise begins at that moment. 15 pounds in the subsequent 30 days. 2 days dairy, 2 days fruits and vegetables. The program does not change. The promise is always upheld. Hans? Hans? Are you there? Gee, this is a technical glitch. I can hear me, and I don't hear Hans. Hello? This is a first for me, people. I haven't had to deal with it. So why don't I fill in the time with talking about verbalization?
It's a question, are Tums chewable? Are Tums chewable? There's a question here.
Are
Tums.
Yvonne, who is my right hand and office manager in West Orange, says there's a question on the screen that says, are Tums chewable?
Is it okay?
The answer is, I would much, much rather that you use Rolaids. Reason: Tums are basically calcium, and the amount of calcium absorbed by the body because of the size of the calcium molecule doesn't make me happy. Rolaids, on the other hand, are both calcium and magnesium and are synergistic. And so I recommend Rolaids if someone feels they need them, because the calcium and magnesium together, in my experience, causes quicker and better results. Next question.
I have a question here. I am doing this for the second time. How do you... No, that's
not. Hans, there is another question. Okay. The answer, and I'm sorry, but is psychologically for me the biggest issue. If I were to advertise in that manner, we would probably have to double or triple the price. Those ads, and if you think of the amount of money you have to spend to do those programs, they can afford to advertise. If there is enough demand and I can raise my price significantly, and those of you who have been on the program in the past know that when I first opened the office, and that was 19 years plus ago, the cost of AccuWeight loss I'm going to round it out, in 20 years has gone up only 50%. So the answer is, I want as many people as can do the program, afford to do the program. And if you put in cost of food for a week on AccuWeight, because you're buying your own food, and I'll be generous, is $35 a week. There is nothing out there that can compare. We don't use drugs. I promise 15 pounds minimum every 30 days. I think we're doing it the way it needs to be done. The program available to pretty much everyone. Hans? Could you repeat that? I didn't understand you. People who feel cold while on the program are feeling cold because their body is reacting to the fat loss. What's critical to understand is the amount of caloric intake is minimal. We are living off our own fat. And that's why the hunger in part goes away, because as long as you have fat in your body to give, your body has an ample supply. But because we are losing fat, cold is one of the side effects. And what I simply recommend to those people is that they get some cayenne pepper capsules, and they take one cayenne pepper capsule at least 40,000 to 50,000 GDUs, which are heat units. Take it with food. It will warm your blood, and the coldness will disappear. Hans? That's a 50-50 question. There are as many people who have the opposite experience, and it's simply because those people who are having the problem are, that telephone will be answered, are retaining water on the vegetable days, but it will even itself out. Hans? Next question. Yes. Water is an interesting issue. First of all, let's understand, water is critical for life. We can live without food for lengthy periods of time. We can only live for days without water. And for those of you who've ever experienced true constipation on this program, and that's where the stool is dry and small. Just the words themselves tell you dry. What happens is your body was becoming dehydrated. Your body actually went into your bowel, which is where the garbage is stored, took out the water so that it could use it. And so therefore, I recommend to people they drink a little bit of water often throughout the day rather than drink a lot at one time, because most often if you drink a lot at one time, within a few minutes you're running to the bathroom. The water is not hydrating. It passes right through you. 8 glasses of water is standard, but for many people, 6 to 7 is fine. Hans? The answer is tea does count towards your water allowance, with one slight, let's call it codicil. Water is clear and perfect. Tea has a coloration in it. And so before the body absorbs it, it actually sends it to your kidneys, to your liver, where it's cleansed. And in the process of being cleansed, you lose some of the water. So the lighter the color, the more hydrating it is. The darker the color, like black coffee, the less hydrating it is. Hans? Dr. Chu was an actual genius. And when we first started the program, he handed me a piece of paper and said, Dr. Schwartz, on the piece of paper that I handed you is the best maintenance program in the entire world. What are you going to do with it? And I said, well, if it's the best program in the entire world, I'm going to do it. And he started laughing. And I said, why are you laughing? Especially you, Joseph. You never laugh. He said, you haven't even looked at it, yet you've agreed that you're going to do it. There is no program out there that I'm aware of that has a successful maintenance program. Reason? Other people are telling you what to do. Dr. Chu turned us around 180 degrees. When people finish the program, we're going to sit them down and basically ask them how they want to live. And we're going to teach them how to do what they want to do. And once they learn what they want to do and actually implement it, the only people they have to fight with is themselves. And that's why, on average, the people who go through our transition/maintenance program are keeping the weight off, on average, as I said, for 6 years and 10 months. And we're very excited about that. Hans? People like, are we having a technical? Question, Hans. We answered that question already, Hans. The answer is yes, but I prefer Rolaids. If you don't transition, I think the odds are extremely significant that you will slowly slip back into your old habits and will be glad in 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year to have you back on the program. We'll welcome you back with open arms and offer you transition when you've reached your goal without prejudice. Next question. I recommend 1 box homemade Jell-O, not pre-made store-bought, 1 box each 24 hours maximum. But I also recommend that it be eaten sitting down and as slowly as possible, broken into 4, 5, or 6 portions so that you can, when you finish your first, stop or make a decision and say, I've had enough. But 1 box each 24 hours is legal. The beads are critical for 2 reasons. When you massage the beads, you release electricity in the form of a neural impulse. It will travel from behind your ears to the hypothalamus, and that neural impulse will stimulate the hypothalamus. When the hypothalamus is stimulated, it sends the signal of satisfaction and hunger goes away. It also prevents the hypothalamus from giving the brain the information as to the number of calories you're taking in. Between the milk, fruits, and vegetables, you have total basic nutrition. The calories are minimal. As long as the alarm bell does not go off, there are no metabolic changes. Your liver will continue to break down fat, and you will continue to lose the weight. Without the beads, your body will go into starvation mode. The weight loss will slow. You will burn muscle and organ, and it will also impact on your metabolism by lowering it. So beads are critical. Hans? Jell-O is permitted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do the calculations, but 1 box maximum each 24 hours. So the answer is yes, anytime. Transition has 2 phases. Phase number 1 is the learning experience, which takes 2 to 3 months for 2 reasons. First of all, during orientation, we talked about something called weight set point. Think of it as a thermostat inside your body. That thermostat is set at the weight you are. When you're on the program, you lose the weight, but the thermostat has not been readjusted. It takes about 2 months to reset that thermostat at your new lower weight. So the first 2 months of transition are resetting that thermostat. Overall, transition takes 2 to 3 months. Once you've achieved that goal, you go on maintenance, which is a slightly different program. And there, each 6 months, and the anniversary of that, every person for the next 2 years is granted a free set of beads and a week on the program for 2 years. And putting those 2 pieces together, I think it's just absolutely marvelous. Hans? Part of my sarcasm was going to say yes, because can means may I in some people's thoughts. The AccuWeight Loss is chemical. Think of water. 2 molecules hydrogen, 1 molecule oxygen, and every time you combine them, 2-to-1 ratio, you've got water. Make it 2 molecules hydrogen, add 1 molecule, so instead of 1 molecule oxygen, it's 2 molecules of oxygen. It's no longer water. It's hydrogen peroxide. The same goes here. 2 days milk liquefied by fat, 2 days fruits and vegetables dissolved by the right amount of enzymes. 2, 2, 2 is extremely necessary to maintain the integrity and chemistry of the program. So 3 milk days is absolutely not advisable. Hans? The answer to that has to do with the circadian cycle. As some of you who've been on the program in the past and will notice in the next period of time when we go from daylight saving to standard time, about 20% of the people on the program will have an adjustment because the light-dark cycle is being critically changed. We early on we have many healthcare workers and police officers and firemen on the program who work the overnight shift. And we tried eating from 12 midnight to 6 a.m. It doesn't work. The program is tied to the circadian cycle. 12 to 6 it is, and that's what it has to be. The second answer, which is not often used, is all of you already know that if you eat late in the evening, your body is going to digest the food. But since the body's energy requirements have been markedly reduced, most of the food is going to be stored as fat. 12 to 6. Hans? The answer to that is, except for a wedding or a christening or a special event, The answer is no. Start eating before 12, keeping the weight off becomes an issue, and I'll be happy to put you back on beads. So the answer is no. Hans? To my knowledge, and I'm only talking about AccuWeight Loss because there are many copycats out there, and except for one particular company, I know of no one out there who has the training to put the beads on properly. The program has been always 20 ounces of dairy, 1.5 pounds of salad or vegetables, 2 fruits, hours 12 to 6, and that has been the program since Dr. Chu trained me, and his word to me was, it's been done for 1,000 years this way in the East. The answer is yes. It's all one company. All the information is integrated, and any office can access your record once you give them your name and office and birth date. And so the answer is, even though you buy a package, yes, any office will accept you. Great question. First of all, I'd like to jump away from the question and tell everyone, if you're taking an antibiotic, the antibiotic is going to destroy the healthy bacteria in your stomach. You're also going to have your weight loss slowed because the antibiotic is going to kill bacteria. Your body is going to retain water in order to flush those dead bacteria. So consider that clearly by, after you've finished with your antibiotic, of going on a probiotic to replenish the healthy flora in your stomach, and recognize there will be some slowing in weight loss. If you're on an antibiotic and you need to take it, because often you can move the morning antibiotic to 12 o'clock, but if you must take it early in the morning, on dairy days, take it with 2 ounces of milk, and on fruit vegetable days, take it with a fruit, and do that both morning and evening. The effect will be minimal because the time you're on the antibiotic is limited. So 2 ounces of milk on a dairy day in the morning, a fruit on a fruit vegetable day in the morning, 2 ounces of milk in the evening, a fruit with the antibiotic at night. Hans? The answer is a qualified and extremely qualified yes. The biggest problem I find with juicing is people not understanding that the healthy fiber in the fruit in most juicing is lost. And if you lose that, that's a problem. One of the other things I noticed, if you take 3 oranges, and remember you're only allowed 2, and you juice them, you're going to get your fruit allowance used up, and basically, maybe, if you're lucky, 2 ounces of juice. So, on that basis alone, I would recommend against it. The other is something very significant. When you juice your fruits and vegetables, you give up chewing. And don't minimize how important it is to chew your food. Is that it, Hans? Then I want to thank all of you for listening in, for watching. What's important here is that we participate. When people interact with each other, their level of success rises markedly. God gave you a mouth. Ask questions on the support groups. And let's interact on a regular basis so that we can grow together. The title of this segment was Take Back Your Life. You take back your life when you're proactive. You risk being victimized and victimizing yourself when you don't let it out. Thank you all. Till next time.